A game developers rant on SBMM from Coconuts again. So this is the second thing we've reacted to from this person. So let's see. I don't know what this is going to be, but it looks like he looks into stuff.
The failure of modern skill-based matchmaking is that it's designed to maximize perfect match scenarios and then minimize the others. When it's working, a majority of games become super tight, super stressful, and that's not fun for most players. So where exactly is the variability?
Yeah.
Is a tweet made by Max.
Yeah, it's very true. We talked about this with what is it? Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, I don't always fucking call it anymore, the COD series, where they're making it where the top players pretty much only have like a 1.2 kill def, 1.3 kill def, maybe a 2 at best, right? Because you're going against people as good as yourself. That's why I talk about, like, if you're seeing people going against these top players, if you see people getting these insane scores like 50-1, 60-1, getting nukes every game, they're probably smurfing. That's not going against the level they're supposed to be going against. So I talk about it because that's how it works. It makes everything way more watered down because you're going against the same level as yourself. You can see it on DBD. Like, when I don't go against below the buffer players, you can see how fucking sweaty it is. It's because I'm going against people as good as myself. That's what it does. That's what it's designed to do. So if you're hauling killers and 316 killers all the time, and you're actually really good with Survivor, you're not playing at the SBMM or the matchmaking or whatever, what you're supposed to be playing at. It's just literal common sense. It's logic. It's how it works.
Hoberman, in regards to an
COD
article defending skill-based matchmaking. Max Hoberman, former multiplayer online...
Barrow the 5.
I don't understand how someone can hate watch you. I
They hate watch everyone.
back when you played Ice in Mortal Kombat X, and I have always loved your positive attitude. I don't even play this game, but I like you as a streamer.
It'll come from all different ways, but it could be as simple as I have a different opinion than them. A lot of hate watchers, they're not the most emotionally intelligent. That's why they get so obsessively hateful towards things. So it could be something like that. It could be anything, man. And anyone can have them. You could be the nicest person in the world, you'll have them, as long as you're in the public eye.
And UX design lead for
Appreciate
Halo
that, man.
2 and Halo 3 writes this tweet. I see mention of the skill-based matchmaking component I designed for Halo 2 and 3 on the site every so often. It's usually mentioned reverently. But then an outlier jumps in to claim it can't work today. I disagree. The ignorance here is infuriating. In response to this article, mentioning skill-based matchmaking is an algorithm that groups players of similar skill level together for more balanced matches.
Yeah, and my personal belief is they're doing this to get the good players away from the bad as well. So more casual players go against more casual, which means that they can enjoy the game more in that level of play. So I get the idea of it. I get the idea, and I think there is some kind of a, like, what would I say? Like, they're all doing it for a good reason in that sense, right? Because, letting them have a nice game. But there isn't always going to be people who dominate anyway. And they also do it in a more sinister way when they start hiding rank. That's what I have a massive problem with. Like, I don't have too much of an issue with SBMM. Like, it does water shit down. The biggest issue for me personally is when they lie what rank people are. So when someone is actually at the top, they say to someone who's at the very bottom, you're the same. You're the same. Because it causes so many fucking bad conversations, bad understanding. Dunning-Kruger effect goes out of the fucking, like, it blows up massively. That's what I fucking hate more than just SBMM by itself. Like, if rank was attached to it, then you could actually see when people are playing at the higher level. I wouldn't have as much of an issue. It's the hiding it which pisses me off. Personally, that's my kind of stance on it.
When it comes to fairer games, why is there any controversy? Well, coming from an actual game developer, what I implemented cleanly divided the space into ranked and unranked matchmaking playlists. Ranked filtered opponents based on level. This was for when you wanted a competitive match. But even then, I intentionally allowed a variability in the range of levels we matched you with.
Okay.
And this is an important point, because without variability, when we match players that are just fairly evenly skilled together...
I mean, in a way, DBD does have that. It has the below the buffer. You've seen it. You saw that last match. Dominated, right? That's kind of the variability I think it's talking about, where it's not just the same. Issue is, didn't know I were going against below the buffer, so I used a completely meta thing and I played meta. If I knew I were going against below the buffer, I could be like, oh shit, these are below the buffer players. Let's go for a fucking mess around build and see what happens. But it's all fucking hidden, isn't it?
It makes matches more stressful, which he writes, why not always evenly match people though? My reasoning was that these are actually...
What's weird about this as well is this weren't always a thing. Like, games before all this, they were working perfectly fine. Everyone were enjoying them. And they didn't have all this, like, matchmaking. People just joined lobbies and played. So I don't know why all of a sudden this is a thing to do, right? Like, it didn't used to always have this. Oh, volume's pretty low, sorry. I always forget about that. There you go. This should be good.
The most stressful matches of the set. Sure, they're the most fun to watch for spectators. Games come down to the wire. That's because the team that wins is the team that outperforms expectations. And if we're constantly matching people up of similar skill level...
That's why I'm kind of saying sometimes that I shouldn't have won this. Because it's true. Like, there's some matches that I physically should not have won, and I can tell that I couldn't have. From playing DVD for like 10,000 hours, I can tell when there's matches where you physically should not have won this.
over and over again.
That's why I say
all
it.
They're gonna
I'm not just saying it for like
stressed out
the good of it. I'm just
time.
it's because that's
People
legit what I'm thinking.
To the environment they've been forced to play in, being stressed out all the time, having to play sweaty. If you check the Dead by Daylight content creator Twitch streams, you'll probably notice that a lot more people are playing sweatier more than ever before. Because the only way to have fun in a matchmaking system where everyone is always stressed out is to play harder, play sweatier, go for win streaks, tunnel, camp, slug, non-stop, which is a paradox when we scroll down into the article, mentioning that skill-based matchmaking prevents people from queuing into an unrelenting meat grinder, full of sweaty teens.
People? This is what I'm on about. Where does it say? Getting home late from a long day at work, the last thing you want to do is sit down for a relaxing round of Modern Warfare 2, only be dropped into an unrelenting meat grinder of a lobby where you're repeatedly eviscerated, blah, blah, blah. For casuals, that's what I was waiting for. Has he noticed that? They're talking about casual players. They talk about people who haven't played, like, aren't playing loads. That's what they're aiming for. Yes, this is something he's getting wrong. He's talking about people who aren't casual. This will be the casual experience. They won't be dropped into an unrelenting meat grinder unless they go against Smurfs, which I think SBMM incentivizes, because then Smurfs can go in and dominate these casuals and get crazy content, right? It's incentives. It's negative incentives and it's fucking deceptive incentives. I've told about this for so long. Like, it's just preaching to the choir.
People from queuing into an unrelenting meat grinder, full of sweaty teens hopped up on monster energy and
level.
Lack of experience in the real world. Facing off against players with a similar level of practice is a good way to ensure that you're all going to have the most enjoyable possible experience. Skill-based matchmaking is a necessary part of maintaining a healthy,
it's almost like
possible experience.
With that,
good way to ensure the world.
That was a bit it was a bit immature in a way, right? Like that was almost like an emotional like an emotional attack. You know, saying like, you know, care about the casuals, fuck these people who, you know, don't go out kind of thing. It's a bit amateur. That it's unprofessional in my opinion. But I don't know who's saying this, but I find that really unprofessional. That sounds very emotional. There was no need for that.
Against players with a similar level of practice is a good way to ensure that you're all going to have the most enjoyable possible.
He keeps missing. If you only have a few hours spare to play, once again, it's the casual players who don't play much. Yes, I know this. It's designed for them. SBMM is a necessary part for maintaining a healthy player base. For casuals, this is what they're aiming for. It all just points to casuals. They're a huge casual audience. What's this? Oh, and then they talk about when the biggest AAA shooter series like the likes of Battlefield and Call of Duty live and die by their huge casual audiences. A vast swath of users who would quietly move on to other things if the experience... Dude, this is exactly what I'm fucking on about. Look at this shit. They're literally saying we do this because we want people to keep on our game. Our biggest audience is casual players. It's so the devs can make more money and they can keep the biggest audience. So they're doing it purely because they just want the biggest audience. They're not doing it because they want balance. They're not doing it because they want fair gameplay everywhere. They're doing it because they want to keep casual players enjoying their game without having to actually learn fucking mechanics or anything. This is exactly what I've been talking about. I don't think this is good. It's good for them, but it's not. I don't think it's good for like games. I really don't.
Experience. Skill-based matchmaking is a necessary part of maintaining a healthy player base, and it prevents hardcore players from going on power trips, where they go on a 50-to-1 kill-death ratio
Smurfs
in
do.
FPS shooters.
When you see that, they Smurfs.
Now, if skill-based matchmaking prevents all of that, why, when it comes to Dead by Daylight content creation, all I see these days are win streaks?
Today we're doing the second episode of 50 wins,
50 win streak,
1,000 kill streak,
826 games in a row
with each killer.
on
That is
Westcoast.
weird.
as blight.
with Nurse.
It almost feels like we went from content creation focusing on meme builds, highlighting crazy moments, to
I've always thought they're weird though, win streaks, because it goes against what SBMM's doing. And I really don't know how you do it. I definitely won't be able to get a win streak. I won't. I got on like a big one with Unknown when people didn't know what they were doing versus him. But as soon as they know what they're doing versus him now, I'm getting way more draws. I definitely won't be able to go on a big win streak. I know I won't. Like I could try it for shits and giggles. You'd see, like it won't.
Sweating.
I'll
only
definitely get a
doing
draw.
Win streaks, tunneling and camping.
You've
more
seen some of
often,
the shit. Like
no
imagine if
matter
I tried a fucking pig win streak. Do you see that Haddonfield game? Fuck, am I gonna win that? Are you kidding?
how many base kit changes we do with an anti-camp feature and nerfs to gen regression, nerfs to gen progression. People have to adapt to their environments. And from a top-down level, from veterans to casual players, these sweaty, stressful matches aren't just exclusively played at the top level, but also the upper mid, and lower levels as well, where the game's identity
It's perspective. So at the top level, a sweaty match will be very different to a low level sweaty match. But yeah, of course, casuals versus casuals will play their sweaty version of casual. Mediums versus mediums will play their sweaty version of medium. Yeah, I mean, that seems like
becomes
common
a
sense.
sweat fest. And that's the only type of content that can exist and thrive. But Coconut, why can't you just make meme content and just do meme builds, make
Oh, the fuck,
crazy
just
plays?
lose every game.
Well, because people become what they consume. When a normal player is put within a sweaty, stressful environment 24/7 every single day, they become the...
Is that match where they spent like an hour just like... Oh my god, that sounds tedious. Han Solo for the 2 months, appreciate it.
embodiment of that. Anything less of the sweaty, stressful gameplay experience is inferior content. Hence, less meme builds, less fun content, less casual content, and more
I don't know about that,
hardcore
dude.
content.
I don't know about that, man. Like, I mean, again, I don't really look through DVD YouTube, so maybe it's changed. But when I did look through, it was loads of meme survivor shit all the time, like Hauling, 360s, what other stupid shit, Bush Tech, like. The flashbang stuff has some more validity because of background player and you can't actually avoid it, but like loads of flashlight saves back to back and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's meme as shit, man. It's meme as shit. Like, I'm pretty sure some of the biggest, well, I mean, they might have changed, but some of the biggest streamers on DVD category just, it's like they're going against baby killers every day. Like, they're just doing meme shit all the time. So, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's changed. Has it changed? I don't know.
Competitive content. Oh, maybe your
that's-
community wants competitive play. No, you're creating the environment.
Like, I haven't done
of which,
the
where
research
that
for it,
is
so
the
maybe
only
that's...
type of community that you can manifest. But let's go on. Well, I implemented cleanly divide the space into ranked and unranked matchmaking playlists. Ranked filters opponents based on level. This was for when you wanted a competitive match, but even then, I intentionally allowed variability in the range of levels we matched you with. This variability was a topic of hot debate internally during development 20 years ago.
Wow.
Obviously, no one wants to be stomped continuously. On the flip side, it gets dull for most people, continuously stomping others.
Good mix.
However, it is fun to have the upper hand some of the time. By intentionally allowing a range of skills to match together, we provided 3 experiences in ranked matchmaking. An easier one, where you can kick butt, a harder one, where you're likely outmatched, and an evenly matched one. My theory was that a good mix of these 3 was ideal. We're currently living in
Potentially. Like I've said, with me, it's not really about the system of it. I actually like going against people of my own skill. I find it fun. Obviously, that's not everyone. What I don't find fun is when I go against people of my own skill, it's imbalanced. And also, I don't find fun that I don't get rewarded for beating people on my own skill. Like, I don't get like this, wow, you're actually doing really fucking good. Like a bit of validation, you know, like you're actually playing well. Dead by Gaslight is why I call it that way. Because you'll have people playing at a much lower level, thinking they're playing at the same level, and then just kind of massively devaluating what you've just done, kind of thing. I don't like that. So I want it linked so I can see it, and I can get some validation that I'm actually doing some nice shit, man. I'm doing some nice shit. It's good feeling. I want some good feeling, man. I want to feel good. I want it to be like, wow, dude, that was fucking difficult. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Fucking hell, it was. I had a proper try.
a universe where every match is a harder one, where you're likely outmatched, or an evenly matched one. When players constantly play a stressful match after another stressful match, another stressful match, another stressful match,
It drains you.
where's the catharsis? There's a constant build of pressure over and over and over again, to the point where people feel like they need to take a break playing Dead by Daylight. And that brings me to the point where people say it's healthy to take a step back from playing the game, which is true, and that's probably why the people on my friends list.
This is an interesting conversation. I can't relate to this. Like, healthy to step back from the video game. Like, you shouldn't be having the game, like, mentally, like, hurt you or whatever. Like, it's a fucking video game at the end of the day. So I can't relate to that too much. Yeah, I can't relate. That's all I can say.
That are playing Dead by Daylight have shrunk drastically as people are playing other games that allow them to feel that sense of relief. But when it comes to our game stressing people out, why aren't we designing a system that also provides that sense of relief? If the only emotion that players feel is sweat and stress, you can imagine how they feel within a month time period, year time period. They'll eventually quit your game, which is also the reason why a lot.
See, for me, it isn't that. It isn't it being difficult. It's the imbalance. I want a balanced game, and I want validation at the end as well. I want the game to say you've done well. But that's it. Like, I can go through that if I'm getting the validation, you know? I want the game to say I'm doing good, man. I want to see a good rank, which is hard to attain. Like, I want this rank to be like, dude, this rank's really hard to get. So that's why the matches are so difficult. Okay, well, it makes sense, but I'm Uri grade 1. Oh, that person who plays 1 hour every week, they're Uri grade 1 as well. Oh, cool. Yeah, cool. Nice.
A lot of content creators are quitting the game. There is a lack of heartbeat, where there's usually an up, a down.
I told you fucking like this heartbeat
an
thing.
essence of variability.
Dude, last time I reacted to somebody said, I felt that he really liked this heartbeat analogy, because it's a good analogy, but I could feel it, man. I'm not surprised I'm seeing it again.
Where the essence of Mother Nature is a mimicry
good
of
analogy.
real life. And when our game lacks that relief, that catharsis, that release of stress that we're constantly feeling all the time, we end up pushing people away from our game and killing our core player base, which is exactly what's happening right now. I don't think it's too late, but something obviously needs to be done about this. Content creators, or legions of devoted fans, just regurgitate the same views. Their argument is that there's something inherently unfair about grouping skilled players in matches with other skilled players, but that's quite clearly ridiculous. It's like
It's worded wrong. Don't make sense. Unfair. No. Casual players balancing for the lower level and then putting top players against each other in an imbalanced version of that game is unfair. Yes. But putting good players against good players in a well-balanced game, that's not unfair. So that's worded incorrectly. It's not unfair.
like supporting a football team.
Or maybe they're going somewhere with it. I'm not sure.
Where one team is getting pummeled and clearly outmatched. This kind of sounds similar to a certain game developer that compared Dead by Daylight to hockey.
Skilled play inherently leads to kills or escapes. Think about sports, and I'll use hockey as an example because I'm
Right, let me just say this actually, because this is perfect. So you know how I love analogies. That's why I like his heartbeat one, because it's good. But analogies also show you people who don't understand what they're talking about. And this hockey one, I've said every now and again, this is someone who doesn't know what he's on about. Like, that's why he uses such a bad detached analogy, because it doesn't make sense. I can't remember exactly what he says, but let's see.
That compared Dead by Daylight to hockey.
skilled play inherently leads to kills or escapes. Think about sports, and I'll use hockey as an example because I'm Canadian. You wouldn't say the only count wins when placing teams in the standings, but they should also count shots on goal too. A more skilled player takes more shots.
We forget to mention that sports are competitive events that people watch
Okay, I
to
want
see
all
the
of it.
best of the best
Well, what's
Shots
the
on
gist?
goal too. A more skilled player takes more shots.
So I'm assuming this is when he was talking, because I need to fucking remember, but I'm assuming this is when he was talking about why they're just making it about escapes and kills, right? Because the shots don't matter, it's the kill that matters. But it's such a different fucking game, man. Like, it's such a different fucking game. Like, you don't need to score 3 times. You don't need to, like, score 3 times to get a point. You only need to score once. Like, it's so detached and so far away. I don't know what everybody's thinking. Maybe just really likes hockey. I don't know. The shots are the hooks. Yeah, but that'd mean that every time on hockey, when you shoot 3 times, the third one has to go in. There's no link. It's a really bad analogy. Lead game designer guy now.
We forget to mention that sports are competitive events that people watch to see the best of the best face off for a prize pool of money. Now, when we take that sentiment to comparing video games to sports and stretch it over an entire video game, it gets to the point where every match feels like people are playing like their life is on the line. Like this $20,000 at stake feels like people.
There is implemented several different things to DVD once for as a party game. I mean, people say that, but there's literally, I've never heard any like actual logical like response to it. It's all just, I just say it. I just say it is. To encourage folks to play like life depends on the game. DC penalties. Oh my god, he's against DC penalties. Fucking hell. He's against DC penalties. Fuck me.
Are playing like their life is on the line. Like this $20,000 at stake. It's often an argument.
That's why you definitely don't listen to some people. Like, listening to people who are talking about DC penalties and they should go. Can you imagine DBD where anyone can quit whenever they want? Can you imagine how bad that would be? I'm pretty sure that's the person who said that I have bad takes as well. I don't get the competitive side of this game. Just got a match playing as Survivor against an Oni with a guild tag in his name. Do they mean clan tag? He 4K'd us and said that he was playing in a tournament. Seriously, it sounds so to me. This is literally Mario Party Halloween edition, and people playing like it's some sort of CSGO or Valorant. Just because you see it that way and you play at such a low level, it doesn't mean that other people play at a low level. Okay, they say the weirdest shit. DBD is Mario Party. It don't link anything to it. Does Mario Party have balances all the time? I don't think. Has Mario Party even been balanced? Does it have SBMM in it? Like, it's so stupid.
Point that I see people complaining about how
Yeah,
every
guild.
match feels like a competitive tournament where everyone's sweating over and over again. And it feels like that way for a reason. Due to the lack of foresight for a player having fun and the name of game-wide fairness. But fairness does not...
It's not game-wide fairness, man. It's casual fairness. You missed the, what they said, didn't it? He missed where they were saying the people who come back from work and play like 1 hour or whatever. Not the Red Bull junkie, need to touch grass players. Like, they're literally against... It sounds like they've got like some fucking vendetta against the good players. Like, it almost sounds like when Peanuts writes something... in like a balance thing, and he's talking as if he's like a survivor being like, oh, the killers. Like he says them to the killers, and he says us to survive. It's like that. It's like us them kind of thing going on. Like the casuals versus the non-casuals, or the bad non-casuals. You know what I mean?
Necessarily mean fun.
So yeah, that's why I saw.
The system I designed for ranked playlists ensure a healthy mix. Sure, it sucks watching your favorite team get their butt kicked in, but it comes full circle when they're the ones kicking butt.
Yeah.
Throw in tight, evenly matched games every so often, and that's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Like the heartbeat analogy I once mentioned.
It's not
a
wrong.
Constant rhythm with ups, downs.
Though I don't like this idea of these devs controlling things, man. Like, do you not see that it's all like automated? Like they're like, okay, we're gonna put you in this game where you do well. We're gonna put you in this game where you don't do well, and we're gonna put you in this game what's close. Like it's so unorganic. It's so unhuman. I really don't like it. I like just the organicness, man. Obviously, we're never going back to it, but yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird.
Downs, mids, and lows is fun because of the essence of variability to have
Very
stressful
weird.
games sometimes with a little relief. I haven't even gotten to unranked playlists yet. I designed these to not factor in skill/level and the search of opponents.
Yeah. Even on unranked, they have MMR. Not with this, luckily, or whatever he's talking about, whatever game it is. In Mortal Kombat 1, I noticed in Mortal Kombat 1, on unranked, they still have MMR. So even when you play casual, you're still playing against people around your MMR from ranked. Fuck's sake, man. It's so annoying. You can't get away from it.
Yes, our engineers utilized the same codebase and kept skill/level as a search criteria, but we substantially deprioritized it in matchmaking, which Choi also mentioned as to one of the reasons why we prioritized it.
Signing is not a factor in skill level. Yes, they utilize the same core base and kept skill. Okay, so they do have MMR, but they made it massively deprioritized. So it was the lowest kind of thing. Like it searched for everything else before it, kind of thing. I don't know how they do that though. Like, did they put it? They'd put like the ping best or something. I'm not sure how they deprioritize the matchmaking, if I'm honest, because that'd be almost like, yeah. Because I feel like if you deprioritize matchmaking, wouldn't it just not work at all? Because let's say you're looking for ping first as a main priority, that has no factor in matchmaking at all. Maybe if you add, maybe it looks at all categories. I don't know. I'm just trying to visualize
in
it.
matchmaking, which Choi also mentioned as to one of the reasons why the lights out modifier didn't feel fun, because behavior enabled skill-based matchmaking for it. When in comparison to the My Little Oni, it was predominantly more fun. Even though it was way easier to die, you could imagine My Little Oni as a game mode where people are just popping all the genders instantaneously. And
They could have had My Little Oni as a game mode. Like just a legit game mode you can jump on. But they just needed to make it where the survivors slid under the pallets. And they jumped over, like maybe get Chucky's animation for Scamper, and then it would have been fine. The only issue with this game mode, it wouldn't have lasted, because once you realize, and we realized quite quickly, that the survivors couldn't slide and they couldn't jump over things, it's just guaranteed downs. So it's like, it's kind of brain dead, right? You're not really thinking. But it has potential, something like that. Just give him the Chucky's animation, and then boom, that would actually be a fun little game mode, yeah.
escaping, making less people want to queue for killer. Or the Oni constantly slugging for the 4K in a casual fun game mode just because he wants to get 4 kills every match. It would
That's a hatch thing though, isn't it? Well, actually, in this one, it's because the things opened. But yeah, there's always going to be that. That's outliers. It's outliers. You won't be going against more. Like, if you had like 100 people playing My Little Oni, you'd maybe get like 2, 3, 5 at most doing the like 4-man slug. It's an outlier. It's the lowest minority. People aren't going to do that.
have greatly reduced the enjoyment in the modifier. We also didn't track skill.
There's always going to be
level
outliers. You don't
globally,
focus on them.
only per playlist. The net result was that unranked matchmaking allowed a very wide range of skill levels to match together for what everyone agreed was casual, inconsequential fun. Again, that's the way it should be, in my opinion. Since the natural skill level distribution of players follows a bell curve, there are outliers, inherently low skill and high skill players. Character
That was old school play. That was old school gaming. If you were like really good, you could jump into a public lobby. And I've said this before, like some of the most fun I've ever had on like public lobbies, like Fear Combat, where I could just like run around and get like fucking 80 kills and 3 deaths. It was difficult to do though. It was difficult to do. You need to be on it, but you could do it, and it was fucking well fun. And then obviously there will be someone who's completely terrible, who's just like
Characterizing the high skill
You won't
ones
get that
as
anymore.
sweaty teens
unless you're Smurf.
hopped up on Monster Energy is really disrespectful. And to be honest,
Yeah. That's what I said, right? What the fuck? So did he read this? I thought that was fucking like not only disrespectful, like it was so vicious. It was so kind of, what would I say? Splitting, right? It was so unprofessional. It was crazy. Like I really picked up on that, and it was really strange. It was like it's like he was angry at them, or like it's very strange. They're players, man. They're also players, you know. They're also buying your games and stuff. Very weird.
hopped up on Monster Energy is really disrespectful. And to be honest, this article is probably made by someone who's just projecting their insecurities and has likely never been at the high skill level to the point where if this journalist was a game developer,
Putting over 300 hours into Call of Duty. Who was this then? So maybe that's why it was so unprofessional. Dashy Wood. Is this just some fucking reviewer? Dude, reviewers are shit at games. There's loads of reviewers who are really shit at games. There'll be outliers who are good, but a lot of them are very shit. It's actually really surprising that people go to them. Actually, no, it isn't, because they give reviews based on casual, and the majority is casual players, right? I guess it makes sense. They don't make sense to me. The takes are fucking shit. Yeah, the takes are well shit. Angry, yeah, this guy's big content creators and angry forum users seem to complain about the most. I've put over 300 hours in Call of Duty, and I think that it's time to stop moaning about skill-based matchmaking. What?
skill level
I don't like the
to
way
the
this
point
person
where
writes.
if this journalist was a game developer, they would likely infantilize a video game in the name of righteously making the game more fun for casual people, while tone deafly making the game worse for everyone. Segregating high skill players from the
Do you think they make it worse for casuals? I don't think they do, you know. I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. That's why they keep doing it. You have to think about, what would I say? I guess motive, right? Always look for motive. Like, would they keep doing it if it weren't working? Like, it's doing something in it. Like, their goal is to make more casuals, casual gamers, be happier with the product and buy more and tell more people about it, etc. If that weren't happening, they would have stopped this and tried something else now, right? So it's obviously doing something. It also keeps you a bit in limbo too, because casual players going against casual players, they're never really going to get better, are they? I just thought about that. Well, I didn't think about it. Someone said it in chat and you just, you know, spark something. They'll never get better. Because the way you get better is you go against people as good or better than you. You never go against that, then how the fuck are you going to get better? You're just going to be living in Dunning-Kruger again. Dunning-Kruger, man. Bad players thinking that they're way better than they are and then telling everyone else.
population at large, forcing long wait times on them is a form of discrimination. Designers should strive to find a way that players of all skill levels can have fun together.
Yeah, that's true as well. But that's why Behavior have put the buffer. So they're not making you wait as long. So you can go below the buffer. That's the only reason they've done it. If Behavior could, and this is speculation, but if Behavior could grab all the best players, push them away from all the casuals so they never go against them, they would do that. As long as they can still play, they would do that. The only reason, because they've already tried it, the only reason that they've got the buffer is because these people were taking too long to get matches. And that looks really bad, right? Like, you can't just completely make it so they can't get any matches when they fucking played your video game. Not only played a video game, got really good at your video game and promoted it and you know, told other people about it and all that kind of stuff. So that's why they've done it. If they could have just pushed every good player in this little box, you know, the 1% or whatever it is, if they could just keep them there, and then no one else has to go against them, as long as they can get games quickly, they would have done that. They just couldn't.
Casual, inconsequential,
So they
unranked
added the buffer.
matchmaking is one way. I dabbled with handicap settings and asymmetric game mode design as others. Game devs shouldn't take the easy way out and default to segregation though. There's far more that can be done. Derogatory views like this
You're talking about the easy way out, but you're talking about behavior that have massively simplified the score system to just kills and escapes. I think they are aiming for easy ways. They used to have an emblem system. It was way more sophisticated. And now the emblem system, they've just left their emblem system, by the way. It still doesn't make any sense. Like, if you actually look at your emblem system, you can get like a 4K with like some good chases and stuff, and you can potentially get a draw in the old emblem system, a black pip. They've just left it. They can't be arsed with it. But the emblem system had way more potential than this kill death. That's a whole
among
different story,
game developers is a cop-out and a disservice to players.
Good players.
Hens
Yeah.
mentioned a player who dug into the game's code that Dead by Daylight has individual skill brackets. As you win more matches, you get to a higher skill bracket.
Wiggles, thank you for the
After ranking into this
31
bracket,
months.
there's
Appreciate
also
it.
loss prevention
Ah, there it
system.
is. So this is it then. If this is actually it, if the totally cheater, this 1.6, we're going to be past that, right? So like 2,000, 3,000, whatever it is. That's why I say it'll be so hard to get down now, because you need to lose so many. But when it does go down, it's going to go below the buffer. So we'll go into the medium skill bracket, if that's what they want to call it. We'll be pushing into the medium. So when I go against them people, you know, that last team I just went against, that was the medium skill bracket I was in, because I went below the buffer, you see.
System in place that prevents the player from immediately dropping back.
This one's outdated, is it? Yeah, but you get the gist. People like visual. Like me speaking, you won't get as much of an idea. Seeing the visual, it becomes a lot more obvious, right?
Out, even if they lose
Some people
multiple
can't
matches in
visually
a row.
think. Like, they can't create like a visual thing in their mind's eye. So this stuff's really good for them people, right? Because it's how your brain works. Our brains are very similar, but we have like different things going on. Like some people, what was it? I think the I can't remember what it were, but yeah, our brains are very similar in some ways, but there's different kind of tweaks here and there which can change quite a bit of them.
The more games you play, the better you get. The more you get locked into the highest skill bracket. This
Talked about
type of
this for years.
segregation is being utilized
This is what I visualized how it would work, because I've played in MMR games for fucking years, like 10 plus years. I know how the MMR system works.
by the Dead by Daylight game developers in the name of making the game more casual and fair. But why is our community playing competitive even though we designed the system to be more fun for casual players? What that must mean is that people want the game to be competitive, which is likely the reason why Behavior has started doing sponsored tournaments and events. Because
Well, they're doing it to get views and exposure. They're not doing it because of the competitive. They've just seen a kind of niche, which is, it's motive, dude. Like, so the content creators doing that, they're doing it because it gives them views. They're doing it because it gives them exposure. It gets people talking about them. That's their motive, which makes sense. It's not because of SBMM or whatever. If anything, SBMM would hurt it. Like, it makes it harder. I actually don't know how they get on such high win streaks with weak killers, if they are doing weak killers. Like, I can understand nurse and stuff, you need to hide your screen and shit, obviously, you get sniped. But some of them, like, if they're going for weak killers, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. But they're doing it because of exposure.
they
obviously.
only see the symptoms of their decision making,
They do, yeah.
not the root problem and
Yep.
cause.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the leaking tap. That's one of my analogies, where the devs put the bucket under the tap instead of fixing the tap. That's exactly what they're doing with gen speeds. It's funny, some people are getting to the same points of what I've already thought about, 100%. Or maybe he's already thought about it, but it's interesting to see that, you know, people are connecting the dots, aren't they?
As to why people feel this way. Eventually, over time, though, casual players
Tom, appreciate the 26 months.
At the start of MMR, I remember a cheater sniping you.
Oh,
From
yeah.
their stream it said what MMR they searched for to snipe you. It said 1687 if I remember
Okay,
correctly.
interesting.
I would only expect it to be higher by now, but kinda funny that there's proof of what you say.
I mean, it's obvious, because I literally play way harder games than DBD and get to the top level against the best players in the world. Mortal Kombat 1, I went against the best Scorpion in the world, for example, and I only played it for a month. DBD, I'm going to be higher, right? And people hate when I say that. It's like, oh, cocky and stuff. Dude, I'm just confident in my fucking gaming skills, man. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, if that's true, I can't remember, but interesting. Benny, thank you for the sub on YouTube as well. Thank you.
May become filtered out due to the game being too stressful, and we'd only be stuck with a competitive, sweaty, try-hard player base
DC
homogeneously.
bad tags.
And if that's the case, if we've reached a point of no return, behavior at that point might as well just make a 5v5, where there's a team of 1 killer, 4 survivors, versus another team of 1 killer, 4 survivors. Have map bans, have perk bans, have killer bans, and fully commit to making Dead by Daylight a...
I think the issue with behavior is it's the first successful game they've had, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't. They know what they're doing in the sense of, you know, trying to get more people in. But I think that's because it's just unique. It's a unique game and it's got licenses. When you actually boil it down to, like, let's say this weren't a unique game and it was just like another shooter, right? And it didn't have licenses. It was just like another shooter. I don't think they'd be anywhere right now. They'd probably be dead. It'd be a dead game because they are so bad at the balancing. They are so bad at knowing what they actually want from the game. It'd be fucked. It'd be completely fucked. What do they want? It is true. Like, this is, like, are they going this direction? Like, it's very, very true, man. It's very, very true. People don't see the fine line between ego and confidence. Yeah, I'm confident because I've done well on games, man. Like, if I didn't do well on games and I had the confidence, I'd get it. But fucking hell. But yeah, let's just go back.
Pet bans, team of 1 killer, 4 survivors. Have map bans, have perk bans, have killer bans, and fully commit to making Dead by Daylight a competitive game. It's entirely risky, could backfire completely. That's why I believe behavior should probably just bring back the emblem-based or rank-based matchmaking, as that worked previously. People liked it,
but they stopped. Do you not understand why they stopped? They stopped because it was too difficult for them to work out. They had the emblem system, and it weren't working, so they refined it. Can you not remember? Like, I think it was oh god, it was like 2-3 years ago now, maybe longer, where they said, oh, we're refining it to get the emblem system working, and it didn't work again. So they've obviously gone back to the drawing board and they said, right guys, what do we do? What do we do? We can't work out how to make this emblem system work. It's way too much work. Every time a new killer comes in, it's going to break the emblem system potentially. It wouldn't, but that's probably what they were thinking. Because the current one, it would have. They needed to create a new one. So what should we do? Okay, well, we'll just simplify it. We'll simplify it for like casual players too. So casual players completely understand, or casual viewers completely understand what the win condition is. The win condition is either you escape or you die. And they're like, oh, brilliant. Let's just go with that. Like, that's what's happened. They got lazy. They don't, like, this is better. An emblem system which judges how good you did in the trial. And this actually goes on to my system about hooks as well, where, you know when someone said, what happens when you hook 8 times, but 4 people escape? Do you all win? Well, it depends on the emblem system. How much did they do in the trial? How bad were their chasers? How good are your chasers? You know, I won't put the gens in because I think the gens is just too random. But you'd put things which matter, like, you know, teamwork, chase efficiency, you know, something else. Maybe the escape. One of them could be the escape, right? Which gives you a certain amount of points. And then something else. And then for the killer, it'd be, you know, how many fresh hooks, how fast were your first down, maybe, or how fast were, on average, your chasers. I don't know, like, you know, but that's how you'd work it out. And then that system would be more healthy. And then you'd link it to ranks, and then you'd make it where you can depip. But the thing is, what we're talking about is something I've talked about for years, obviously. Like, I'm preaching to the choir at this point, for you guys, but anyone new listening to this might not know. But, you know, this is like it's a healthier way of pushing DBD, right? What we're talking about is a healthier direction, but they're not going that way. They're doubling down on just going worse and worse and worse and worse, right? Like, soon, you can't even depip. So now, everyone's just going to be Uri 1, no matter the level. No MMRs linked to it. It's all just kills and hooks. Kills and deaths. What else fucking stupid shit? Now they're making it way, you know, You only can kick a gen 8 times, which won't really be an issue with this, but you know, they've got this massive, like, yeah. But yeah, anyway, you're thinking of the same lines as me with this, you know, going back to this, going to rank, but it's just not going to happen. The devs have doubled, tripled, quadrupled down, and they're just following this really bad direction, and it's gone so far now. How the fuck are they going to get back to it? Seriously, how are they going to get back to it? This is why I was trying to be proactive with what I talked about, because as soon as you be reactive and as soon as it starts getting in place, you're already fucked. That's why I'm talking about the Swift thing. The Swift thing's a massive issue, what people can't see. But when they start just doing all this weird shit, just wait like a year down the line. If people are still playing, I don't know. Just watch how buffing solo were the wrong thing to do, right? But anyway.
Players just kind of want some good old-fashioned casual fun. So this was a Halo game developer's critique on the failure of modern-day skill-based matchmaking. I have to thank Choi for finding this and pointing this out. I'll leave a link to his channel and the video he uses to cover this exact same topic and behavior. Please. We've been tackling this problem from all angles, psychological, scientific, and now even coming from the mouth of another game developer himself. Skill-based matchmaking probably needs to go.
This isn't behavior. This is what the devs are starting to do on all games. We've talked about it once again. Overwatch, they're starting to do it, right? Rainbow Six, they're starting to do it. Like they've figured. This is why I say it's probably working, because they'll talk to each other, won't they? And they'll do loads of research. They've figured out that it gives them more sales. It keeps their player base bigger for longer. They've obviously figured something out like that. That's why they're pushing it. They don't give a shit about the good players. It's almost like none of them are like proper gamers, man. It's really sad, man. I hate it. But yeah.
But maybe you guys have a better solution in the form of modifiers or something. We'll see. I hope you understand why a lot of people are complaining about the current.
All right. But there you go. Appreciate it to Coconuts for the video. A game developers rant on SBMM. It was a good one. Didn't know what we were going into either. So that's cool. Let me actually write. So